The Lakers taking on the Houston Rockets. Okay, let's get into it, Ime. Let's see what we're drawing up. LeBron, 41 years young, doing it without Luka, doing it without AR, and the Rockets had this game won, it seems like.
Right there, I'm like, oh, man, LeBron just cost them the game right there. Come on, but
then 30 seconds left in this game, guys.
I mean, it's the little things like that that hurt you. Not only did you get the turnover, you got the silly foul for three, just contested, and then you still live to see another day, particularly when you're up.
Yeah, you're up six. You was up 6, up 5.
Smart knocked down those 3 free throws.
Give it back to him.
Gets it back to LeBron. Boom.
And we know the history in Houston. We know Bron loved playing in Houston.
Sure.
We know that. So.
He said, we're going to overtime, and if I'm going to overtime, I'm going to win. You're going to have me out here for 45 minutes.
That's a great pass, great shot right there.
Just felt like Houston, they ran out of gas, didn't have enough, and Bron, just saw red and was like, we got to take this game over. They gave us an opportunity to play another quarter. Let's go ahead and bring this one home.
I agree. You lose the lead. You go to overtime. You try to fool yourself thinking you have enough, but you don't have the momentum. When you're playing against LeBron James' team, it's not going to happen.
LeBron James, 29 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. By the way, no team in NBA history has come from down 3-0 to win a playoff series. That's exactly where Houston finds themselves. Let's hear what their head coach, Ime Udoka, had to say after the game.
I know the game just ended, but in terms of the way the game just fell apart at the end, how was it from your vantage point?
Horrendous mistakes. I don't know if you want to say youth or, scared of the moment or whatever the case, but yeah, you have a 6-point lead with 20 or 30 seconds to go, get a rebound, and just have to hold the ball and get fouled, or it's basically a 1-on-4 and we throw it away. To combat it, make it worse. Foul, a terrible foul on Marcus Smart to give him 3 free throws. Next play, backcourt, you got it. Double's coming, you try to split it instead of throwing it to Alpi wide open. Another turnover, and then James makes a tough shot. Then the final play, for the last shot, we don't run what was drawn up. All the above.
Ooh, all of the above. Some fire coming out of it. Seemed like Ime Udoka, as he's just going back through that series, the final 30 seconds of this game, he actually, right after the game, he made his team watch the last 30 seconds. He's talked about youth on some of the mistakes. I mean, like, what's your initial reaction from just hearing him at the podium after this one?
He's not wrong.
It hurt. That game hurt. That loss hurt. And you could see him as the game was going on. If you was watching the game, you saw him just going through all of the emotions during that last 50 seconds of that game. For him to sit there and say, I don't know if it's youth, I don't know if he's just scared of the moment, that's him as a former player, as a competitor, trying to figure out what is happening or what happened in that moment. You just cannot be up 6 with that short amount of time and lose the game at home. You just, even that turnover, you still come back, you stay solid, you make them take a tough shot, but you have to come out with that game. And you have to take your hat off to the Lakers and Marcus Smart for selling it and LeBron for making that 3. But you just don't give a team like the Lakers, a veteran team like the Lakers, that opportunity to close out the game. So that's a tough loss.
When you have a performance from a trio of Jabari, Thompson, and Şengün all getting you 24 or more, you have to figure out how to win, particularly when you don't have KD there. And you have, like you said, you're up with the opportunity because they only had 3 bench points. So it wasn't anywhere else they could go. But I feel like I love the fact that they watched it, whether he said what he said in the interview or not, because they're still young guys that are going to be in that position for years to come. They got to learn, and they got to see it, because it's easy that play to happen, and you don't see it, and you let the outside world creep in. But you know it is. You see it on video. It's nothing you can say, and you learn from it. Jabari will know now. Hey, there's nobody guarding me. Let me get up the court, at least get to half court, then hold the ball.
Yeah, he panicked. And for what reason, I don't know why. Like, you comfortable having the ball in your hands. That's a frustrated coach right there. Really putting a game plan together without KD to go up against Bron and JJ and this team that has been, trying to slow down KD and these boys. And he figured them out of how to get his guys involved, how to get Şengün to be effective and efficient. And to lose in that manner, it took all the energy out of it.
Yeah, right. It almost deflated. Yeah. But meanwhile, like you said, guys, KD out with a sprained ankle. It's his left sprained ankle, so we'll see whether or not he'll be able to play in Game 4. All right, you guys have been here at NBA Showtime because you've actually been waiting for these guys to talk about that game. You want them to talk
at the Lakers 22-8 in clutch games in the regular season. You were talking about it all season long. What a clutch team they are. And then look what they do last night in Houston, trailing with 30 seconds to go by 6. And here they are with a 3-0 lead. What did you make of this latest clutch performance? What really struck you about what they were able to do last night?
Well, from their perspective, I think, Hannah, the thing that stands out is they still had belief like that late in the game. After the Şengün breakaway dunk and Rockets go up 6, it's not looking like this team is going to win that game, but they stayed ready and they stayed with their pressure and they forced a couple of turnovers. Now, to me, absolutely inexcusable that Houston didn't close out that game. You can't possibly play worse late when you're just trying to secure a lead and make some free throws to win than the Rockets did in this game. But the Lakers were there. They were ready, and they didn't panic when they did force those couple of turnovers. They didn't take quick forced shots. Marcus Smart draws the foul, and then on the 3 that LeBron hit, it's a really good play by Luke Kennard. He would have had a very tough contested shot if he let it fly. Goes back to LeBron, has the patience for the pump fake, and then knock it down. So they played with poise, and they continued to believe. I think that was the biggest thing. But from Houston's perspective, it's an absolute meltdown. There's just no other way to describe that. That has to be a game in which the Rockets win it and give themselves life, thinking, hey, now we can get it to 2-2 in Game 4.
Yeah, and listen, not having KD, that's not an excuse when you look across at your opponent missing their 2 leading scorers from the regular season. All right, so let's go on to the young San Antonio Spurs, who were without Victor Wembanyama. They go on the road. They get a win. Castle and Harper were unbelievable. They're going to be such a problem for years to come. How important was that kind of win for this young team?
Huge, because you're talking about, you lose Game 2, you go on the road without Wemby. Portland as a team, I really, really like the way they've played over the last couple months of the season. They're tough, they defend. So if they win Game 3 and they go up 2-1, like you're feeling now, if you're the Portland Trailblazers, we have a chance to legitimately win this series because they still would have had home court advantage. So that's why this win was so important, to reestablish control, immediately retake home court advantage. And you saw those young guards. Look, make no mistake about it. Von Castle is a former Rookie of the Year. There's no doubt. I think he's eventually going to be an all-league caliber player. Dylan Harper's a future star. There is no doubt about it. The minutes he's gotten this year, the impact he's had, this was a little bit different to have this type of scoring burst because he doesn't usually get that many scoring opportunities. But how can you not be so impressed with this young team and immediately going on the road and taking control of the series once again?
And how can you not think ahead to the trouble that they could give OKC, right?
For sure.
Anyway, before I let you go, I have to talk about the New York Knicks and one of the great stories this season. CJ McCollum is just like the guy he was traded for, right? Trae Young. He's a Knick killer in this series, back-to-back game-winning shots. What adjustments do the Knicks need to make on both ends of the floor before they're really out of this series?
Well, I think a couple. I think, for one, and I've been saying this since Game 1, their biggest advantage they have is Karl Anthony Towns offensively. There is no real matchup that Atlanta can throw at him. He's physically dominated, 56% from the floor, but he's only taking 12 shots a game. That has to change. I think that needs to be the point of emphasis for the Knicks. And I know that they like to just play in the flow, and they want Karl Anthony Towns to find his spots organically, offensively. I think there needs to be a little bit more of a predetermined mindset that they're going to get him the ball in spots where he can operate and collapse the Hawks defense. And then on the other end of the floor, I just think they have to be more selective at who ends up on CJ McCollum, particularly if you're in a tight game in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson's going to do his thing on the other end, but defensively, he's being attacked, and CJ McCollum is in a great rhythm. You're going to have to make sure you've got the defender on McCollum that you want late in the game. Because right now, Atlanta has a tremendous amount of confidence against this team and that they're going to win this series. Game 4, absolutely critical for the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible pickup at the trade deadline. I mean, Colin was doing commentary here on SportsCenter not too long ago, and now we're talking about him being a key in this series. Legs, looking forward to your call tonight. We can't wait. And thanks for, getting up early and hanging with us. We appreciate it.